Hi, my name is Lance Hood, and you're Lance Out Loud. This will be the first segment, so I'm going to touch on the most controversial thing. See, I am a former basketball player. I got hurt at McNeese State before I ever got to play a game. Before that, I played at Tyler Junior College as well as Southeast Community College. Had a lot of good experiences with basketball. I played for several AAU teams in Ohio. I got to see Vegas. I got to see parts of the country growing up. To answer everyone's question, as soon as you hear Ohio, did I play against LeBron James? In a summer league game, yes, I did. That was the summer of '99. They had just committed to going to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary's. And he was a very special player at that time. Do not get it twisted. He was about 6'2", 6'3". He hadn't hit his full growth spurt yet because later on that season as a freshman, he was 6'5". So he was just coming out of the 8th grade going to 9th. Who did I play with? In 2004, my high school and my AAU teammate were both drafted to the same team, Sacramento Kings. That would be Kevin Martin and Rick Menard. If you don't believe them, go ask them about Lance Hood. Both of them will say at least they played with me. So I know a little bit about basketball. There was more pros that I played with and against. There were other guys, the best players in Ohio at the time I played against as a kid. I got hurt. Didn't do anything stupid. I got degrees out of it. And I currently coach basketball and mentor kids. Now, why am I doing this? It's very simple. Every day I watch sports TV. I watch all kind of things. And this is going to be a once a week segment unless it really takes off because I'm tired of guys getting on this YouTube thing and debating about who's the greatest, who is this, who is that. And it just seems like personal shots are taken everywhere. Personal shots are taken all over by everybody, and I've been guilty of it at times. LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, we all are fans of basketball, and we do have our greatest. And I've been hearing guys who probably shouldn't be allowed to talk about basketball talk all kinds of craziness, leaving out things, leaving out details that could, critically swing things. Let me explain this. I got to see the best of Michael Jordan. I was very advanced as a child when it came to basketball. I understood things at an early age. This is why I'm not the most athletic player, but I was able to get a D1 scholarship because of my mind, understanding the flow of the game, understanding certain things. So this is where I've been successful at, okay? This Lance Out Loud, our first topic will be LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. Where do they rank in my mind and why? First of all, I love debating people, but what I hate is when people don't want to listen to the actual facts or they will twist the facts. I think people who twist the facts for either Jordan or LeBron's favor are sadly mistaken. I think people who don't have LeBron in their top 5 are sadly mistaken for several reasons. And I'll be honest with you. What I really hate about this debate is when I hear something like, "Oh, Jordan ain't black. He paid for black men to go to prison," or, "Oh, he left basketball because he's the reason he got his dad killed." Get that bull crap out of this, okay? If that's how you feel opinion-wise about him, that is your right. But at the end of the day, that shouldn't be any part of this basketball situation. I don't want to hear about Kobe's rape case. I could care less. I don't care. I care that he is gone, but don't bring nothing up about the helicopter. That was a very sad incident. He lost a daughter. we lost some very, very beautiful people in the world. I hate people who do that. That is just wrong. And as far as LeBron goes, keep what happened in 2010 out of this. If what they say is true, I will be messed up about it too. I mean, this is what it is, okay? So now that we've gotten all the bull crap out the way, why are we so intrigued with this debate? I think the major reason is we saw Michael Jordan, we saw Kobe Bryant, and we saw LeBron James. LeBron, while Kobe tried to emulate LeBron, or Kobe tried to emulate Mike, LeBron came straight for the title. I mean, he did. He made it known from day one, I'm wearing 23, but I'm trying to carve my own path, my own way. Okay. Respect to you. Here's what I'm going to say too. That man is the greatest basketball player to ever come out of Ohio. I've heard people say Kenny Gregory was better. I've heard people say Michael Redd. I heard people say Esteban Weaver. No. I saw those guys play in high school. Heck, I even played against a few of them in Pro-Am leagues and summer leagues. No. Stop saying that. There was nobody better to come out of Ohio than LeBron James. And I know that the kid from Ohio State, John Diebler, has broken records, and I know there's a couple other kids that have broken records, but the fact of the matter is, none of them have changed the way basketball is being played. You do realize before LeBron James, if you were over 6'5" and you grew up in Ohio, you were going to the post. Automatically. It didn't matter. After he started coming along, people started expecting you to do different things. For example, I was in junior college when the game happened between Oak Hill and Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. The first thing my coach told me to do, you got a bigger guy, you take the three. You got somebody you can take off the dribble, please use it. Hood, use everything you got. And I know without LeBron James, that does not happen. Let me make that first and foremost clear. There was a lot of us who could dribble, who could do some things before LeBron James came that was over 6'5", but you weren't allowed to. So let me give him that credit. He definitely changed the way a lot of basketball was played, especially in the state of Ohio. Salute to you, my friend. Salute to the whole Akron St. Vincent St. Mary 2003 class, because without them, Ohio may not be where it is as far as people, the way people view us. Okay? So with that being said, I was on somebody's page today and I got very upset because they were taking stats and twisting them to their manipulation without telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Here's the bottom line. I heard somebody say, well, LeBron's not even better than Kobe. That's not true. It's not true because here's the absolute truth. LeBron James walked into the NBA when Kobe was in his prime. Okay? Kobe was in his prime. Kobe's prime began from 2000 and lasted probably till about 2008, 2009. Okay? But let's just be real honest. Them first years with Shaq was the beginning of his prime. The unfortunate part about it is Shaq went to Miami, so we didn't get to see what prime Kobe and in the prime Shaq would look like, you know, all together. We didn't get to see Kobe as the Batman on that roster. And you really can't say he was ever Robin after 2000. You could say it was like having Batman and Superman on the same squad. So, you know, if LeBron made the Avengers in Miami, Kobe and Shaq together was like having Batman and Superman. I want to bring something to your attention. Do you realize before LeBron James made the move to Miami, okay, in the head-to-head battle, LeBron was 8-5 against him. LeBron averaged 28.2 a game, 7.3 assists, and 7.3 rebounds. While Kobe averaged 24.6, 5.2, and 5.0 rebounds. This is LeBron pre Miami era. So before the decision, before all the crazy things like that, let's get our cards out on the table. He was getting at Kobe and he was winning. So at the end of the day, that's even the Kobe that won 2 back-to-back. That is the same Kobe who beat the Boston Celtics. That's the same Kobe who lost to the Boston Celtics. That is the same Phil Jackson-led team. So when LeBron left, stats didn't change much, but he extended the record to 16-6. So before anybody goes and says Kobe was better, understand what I am saying. You have no validation to it because they actually played pre-prime and prime, and LeBron got the best of him. I'm sorry. This is just the bottom line truth. They can say what they want. They can say however they want. I get it. Kobe was the man in the Olympics. He does have a different kind of mentality. I get it. But did it make him better at the time? No. It did not. Because it would have came out at that time. Okay? So that's what I want you to know. So before 2010, from 2003 to 2010, while LeBron was with those Cavaliers, his record was 8-5 against Kobe. He averaged more rebounds. He averaged more points. He averaged more everything. So for those of you who say Kobe is better, and that's still your opinion, I respect that. You got to like him for the game. I get it. I was a Kobe fan too. I absolutely love him. Loved him. Even in 1998, at the Adidas Big Time tournament, that's all you heard about was Kobe, T-Mac, everything. I was out there. Everything was beautiful out there. It was a glorious time. Kobe's time was glorious. But when LeBron stepped in, there were some things that went on. Now, let me just say this. Another thing. You do realize Kobe's MVP season, Michael Jordan had better stats as a rookie than he did on his MVP season. I know that is insane to think about. But this just goes to show you above and beyond where Jordan was at some point. Now, what about Kobe being 5-3 against Jordan? Hey, I'll give you that. I will give you that all day. But was he 5-3 really against prime Mike, or was it old Mike? Let's explore this. So 12-17, 1996, that would be the 96-97 season. That would be Kobe's rookie game. Mike had 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. Kobe had 5 points, 1 rebound, and 0 assists. Hey, he was a rookie. I get it. Backing up Eddie Jones. Later on that season, 2-5-97, Jordan had 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists against Kobe in the head-to-head matchup. Kobe had 5, 3, and 0. Respect. Now that next year, Kobe really worked on his game. And on 12-17-97, Kobe had 33, Jordan had 36. Jordan had 5 assists. Jordan had 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Kobe had 3 and 2. On 2-1-1998, which was the year Chicago won their 6th, Jordan had 31. Kobe had 20. Jordan had 5 rebounds. Kobe had 4 rebounds. Jordan had 2 assists. Kobe had 1 assist. So, for everybody questioning this, Kobe had a really great game. Those last 2 games, he got to face the Jordan before the Wizards. Okay? Now, in my humble opinion, Michael Jordan's last prime year was the year they went 72-10. Anybody want to argue that? That's fine. I say from April of 86 to 96 was championship number 4, 96 was Michael Jordan's prime years, even though he sat out 1.5. Now, something very interesting with the Wizards, Mike was 39 on 2 He was 38 on 2/12/02. He had 22, 5, and 6. Kobe had a triple-double, 23, 11, and 15. So that was Michael, 38 years old, going on his 39th birthday. On 4/2/02, Jordan only had 2 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Kobe, 14, 2, and 6. On 11/8/2002, Jordan had 2 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Kobe had 27, 6, and 4. The last game they played on 3/28/03, which made Michael 40, was 23, 0, and 4. Kobe 55, 5, and 3. So with that being said, what I'll say to people is this. Michael Jeffrey Jordan and Kobe Bryant's record was 5-3 in Kobe Bryant's favor. However, none of them were prime Jordan, and Jordan finally got a taste of prime Kobe Bryant and pre-prime Kobe Bryant. Kobe was the ultimate competitor. I will never take nothing away from Kobe Bryant. But at the end of the day, while he averaged 22 points a game against Mike averaged 24. It's very hard to put that in perspective because you had one guy on the way out, one guy on the uprise. So, at the end of the day, Kobe never saw prime Mike. Prime Mike got to see, Kobe never got to see prime Mike. Old Mike got to see prime Kobe. Respect to both of them because they were both competitors. Now, the number one thing everybody wants to talk about, LeBron versus Jordan. I've heard so many facts twisted in this situation. So many facts. It has been so disrespectful. It is unreal. As I started this video saying, LeBron James a bad mofo, bruh. You don't take that away from that guy. That guy was bad and still is. What we have seen him do at 41 going on 41 years old is incredible. He has been in the spotlight since he was 18 years old. Or before that. Matter of fact, I first heard about him when he was 13. I was taking my brother back to college in Akron, and his roommate was talking about this young kid from Akron who was phenomenal. Now, I'm pretty sure he was talking about LeBron James. But, I didn't live in Akron, so I can't prove whether or not he wasn't. But the very first time I heard of his passing and stuff like this, he was 13 years old. Respect. However, Kendrick Perkins said because of the expectations and what he's able to accomplish, that's why he considers him the GOAT. Respect to that. The one thing I will say about Kendrick Perkins is he has not degraded either one of them, and I got to respect that right there. Let's go into this. Okay, first of all, what needs to be known is this. LeBron James did take a Cavs team to the NBA Finals in 2007. Much respect. Boobie Gibson, all those guys. You do realize, though, that some of the cast members LeBron had gotten, like Larry Hughes. You realize Larry Hughes was averaging 15 a game before he ever came to LeBron? He was averaging 15 points a game before he ever came to LeBron, and he was the first team all-defensive selection. So the narrative that he didn't have anybody in Cleveland is a lie. He was winning 60 games with them. Okay? LeBron James, before 2010, I literally thought in my mind that this could be it. This is the guy that could possibly do it. We knew Kobe didn't do it. We were looking at this like this was the guy. I know, I'm from Ohio, so all my love was geared towards this. But it was major mistakes. First off, let's be completely honest with this. If you go back and look at Game 7, 2008, he had 41 points. Paul Pierce had 45. Ben Wallace did a great job holding KG to 14 points. That game was there for the taking. Okay? With the squad that he had, I am about sure that if he would have pressed the issue a little bit more, maybe got 50, 51, 52, he could have knocked them off. He could have. What everybody want to talk about is 2009 being the year that he dropped the ball playing against Orlando to get the Kobe in the finals. No, 2008 he also did too. He went game 7 with them Boston Celtics. Trust me. If you go back and watch that game, there was a strong possibility Cleveland could win it. He couldn't get it over the hump. I respect that. He had 41. Not knocking him. But we all know a guy who once in 86, he knew his team was losing. He went for 63 in the Garden against 6 Hall of Famers. We know that. Coming back only after 17, maybe 18 games, as after a broken foot, dropped 63, averaged 40 something that series. Respect. All respect in the world, even though he got swept. Let's talk about this. Y'all, he got swept early. Well, LeBron didn't make the playoffs the first 2 years, bro. Y'all do realize that. Everybody, Jordan got swept them 2 years. They were terrible. Well, at least he made the playoffs. Bron didn't. Everybody knows Jordan played in the stronger East. How do we realize that? Jordan beat more 60-win teams, more so many odd teams than LeBron did. I have to check the narrative about the 50-win teams. But I know for a fact, 60-win teams, Jordan does have the better part of them. Let's talk about Scottie Pippen. Who in the heck thought Scottie Pippen was going to be the number 1 wingman in the world? Whoever thought that? This man came from an NAIA school. Let's be honest, he didn't even have a roster slot. Him and Jordan worked every day. They got better, and they took the team, put them on their shoulders. Was he alone? No. Horace Grant. Great guy. But was never an all-star with Jordan. Let's talk about this. I personally think LeBron should never left Miami. Why shouldn't he never left Miami, you ask me? Okay, you left Cleveland. It was what it was. You don't leave Miami. Pat Riley would have got you the players, bro. Pat Riley, even though he wanted his respect, he was going to bend over backwards to get you players because he likes to win and he knows how to win. Irregardless of what we're talking about with Spoelstra. Even though Spoelstra is a good coach, especially at that time, Pat Riley would have got you the players to win. We sit up here and we go on and on about he doesn't have this, he doesn't have that. Well, if he would have stayed in Miami, he'd have got that. During Miami, you went 2-2. 2011, I ain't got to say no more. You put Jordan in the finals, he never had a situation like that. I'm not trying to be funny or anything, which I'm not knocking LeBron. This happens to athletes. There are some players, y'all remember in 85 or 84, was it? When they was calling this man Tragic Johnson? Even though he had a great 1980 situation, they were dogging Magic Johnson because he couldn't get it done. And then he redeemed himself. So let's throw that out the window. But let's add it because at the end of the day, that is a finals loss. Now here's where y'all have to understand my preference. Okay. Y'all do realize LeBron James is number 1 in turnovers all time. No, I'm not making this up. Y'all do realize Jordan's not even in the top 35 in turnovers all time. Y'all do realize Michael Jordan's PER is higher than LeBron James. Not by much. It's like 27.9 and 27.1. This is what I'm going to say. It's preference and not fact because they never got the chance to lock horns. We have never seen a prime LeBron or a pre-prime LeBron versus a prime Jordan or even pre-prime or in-prime Jordan. So this comes down to preference. LeBron James is great, folks. I have him second only to Jordan. And I hear people every single day trying to thrash one player or another. My basis is this totally. LeBron has been able to move around from team to team, A lot of people have listened to him and picked the players that he wanted. He's gotten a lot of Hall of Famers. Michael Jordan didn't have that privilege. He had to play with whatever you gave him. Oh, Dennis Rodman. Okay, let's talk about Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was 35 years old when Michael Jordan got him. 34 going on 35. He was dang near on the verge of being put out the league because so many people was tired of his antics. Who remembers how he acted the whole entire time he was with San Antonio? When Michael Jordan picked him up, Dennis grabbed rebounds and he defended along with other defensive core. So when the game was on the line, nobody was passing Dennis Rodman the ball. He might have got a rebound and kicked it out, but during that whole entire time, he was not an all-star, not even voted an all-star under Jordan's reign, and he was past his prime. The one thing I get sick of is people try to hold on to that. Like Rodman's a better player than everybody LeBron has ever had. Like Scottie is better than everybody LeBron has ever had. Go look at the final averages. Go look at the final averages between Dwayne Wade and Scottie Pippen. Yes, Scottie Pippen could defend and do a little bit, but that was LeBron's job too. Do you understand that Miami LeBron and Miami D Wade averaged more as a combination with Chris Bosh than Jordan and Pippen? I want y'all to sink that in. Get this through your head that Jordan never had a power forward as good as Kevin Love. Hell, Jordan never had a center as good as Ilgauskas. So when we sit up here and we talk about this, nobody is bringing this to the forefront. And I know what I was about to say, oh, he had the best finals competition ever. No lie there. Who wants to dispute that? You're right. Between the Warrior dynasty and the Spurs dynasty, it was tough. But that's what basketball is about. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be funny or anything like that. If you look at the road traveled to the finals, it evens each other out. 60-win teams Jordan had to beat. All this stuff. So you want to say LeBron had a harder finals. Okay, not even going to argue that. But Jordan had a harder way to get there. So it evens each other out. Now let's talk. One of the greatest things I hear, one of the most dumbest things I ever hear, people say is, oh, LeBron's a better three-point shooter. Okay. Well, who changed the game to make the three-pointer more important than ever? I think a guy named Steph Curry did that, and he was drafted in 2008. See, a lot of you wannabe sports analysts don't realize that in the 80s and the 90s, first of all, the 80s introduced the three-point line. Let's get that out in the open. You had certain snipers. You didn't have a team of three-point shooters. So Jordan had a specialty player named Craig Hodges when he was coming up. You know, Celtics were pretty good because they had a couple. They had Danny Ainge, they had Larry Bird. Shooters. But the three-point shot was not the emphasis because before all the advanced metrics came out, it made more sense to get the ball into the paint and get your big involved to score than it does to sit up there and let somebody bomb away at three. This was the thought process before Steph Curry and them came along and start bombing. So when we talk about comparing eras, this is what I can't stand when somebody tries to bring it up. Oh, LeBron had a better three-point stat than Jordan. Yeah, it's because the game changed to that. Nobody talks about the fact in the 90s they played better team defense than they do today. The greatest era possibly was the 2000s through 2010. Before the three-point shot got very heavy because you had a mixture of both. You had to have an inside guy. You had to have a great guard. Golden State took over. You could play small ball. What happened? Bigs got a little bit quicker, a little bit stronger, a little bit whatever. Nobody's denying LeBron James' greatness. But at the end of the day, factor in every single thing. I heard something else. What is Michael Jordan first in? Well, it's very simple. Point per game average all time, 30.9. All time. So he's got 10 scoring titles. Now, 10 scoring titles means every year he's the leading scorer. LeBron is the all-time leading scorer because he played for so long and averaged a good amount. We respect that. But that doesn't make you better, because what you're allowed to do now and how the game is played totally different back then. It started to change. Oh, well, Michael Jordan had Phil Jackson. Who the hell was Phil Jackson before Michael Jordan? Let's kick this. Let's be real about this. What did he do? Win one in Puerto Rico? Let's talk about David Blatt. You know how many championships David Blatt had before LeBron ran him up out of Cleveland? It was absolutely incredible what this man was doing overseas. He wanted him out. He got Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue did a great job. Got Cleveland their first championship. I respect that. But at the end of the day, with KD going to the Warriors, which I guarantee if LeBron don't go to Miami, that never happens, because he never would have had it in his mind. Because before LeBron did that, guys that were at their physical peak were not going. Let me explain something. Everybody's like, oh, well, what about KD or KG teaming up with the Boston Celtics? Okay, first of all, he was traded. Him and Ray Allen was traded over there. You know when KG was drafted? 1995. You know what year he went over there? The 2007-2008 season. So he was past his prime. Same with Ray Allen. Ray Allen was drafted in 1996. When did he go over there? 11, 12 years into the NBA. So he didn't pull that trigger by himself. One of the biggest accomplishments Kobe had is, okay, that team was allegedly a super team. He took them down. He competed with them. He took them down with Paul Gasol. So it was like 3 stars versus 2. And he found a way to get it done. You got to respect that. So I can understand why a lot of people will put Kobe up on that level past LeBron. But for me, it was the head-to-head. Do you also realize LeBron is the most is among out of the 3, he's played with the most NBA All-Stars. He's played with the most NBA All-Stars, has the most turnovers, has taken the most shots, and has the most playoff losses. And he is tied with Jerry West with the most finals losses. For a guy who was able to manipulate and get guys on his team. Let me put this in perspective. Mike had to take what they gave him, and he had to go with it. Everybody's mad at Mike's former agent because he said what's on people's mind. If he would have moved Mike wherever he wanted to go because he wasn't happy in Chicago at any point, he'd have 15 rings. He wouldn't have a 4-6 record. People get mad about that. I'm telling you. He didn't budge like that. He fought through it. Oh, Detroit beat him. Okay, yep. Detroit did beat him. Detroit had one of the best defensive players in Joe Dumars. And Isaiah Thomas was actually a terrorist. Wasn't like Jordan had a center. They had Dennis Rodman, prime Dennis Rodman, mind you, who could sit down and defend. They had many good players on that Detroit team. That's why they were able to dethrone the Celtics, who had 5 Hall of Famers themselves. Yes, look this up. So the Celtics team everybody keep talking about Jordan lost to had 5 Hall of Famers. These same 5 Hall of Famers had beat a Houston Rockets team with Twin Towers as well as a Lakers team to get a championship. This is the problem I have. You have people who degrade these basketball players consistently. You have players who degrade them and not tell the facts about why they pick them. I've heard some of the most disrespectful things ever. So here's Lance Hood's opinion, Okay? The reason I have LeBron over Kobe is because the head-to-head matchups. Before he left Cleveland, he was 8-5 against him. After he left Cleveland, the record ballooned to 16-6. But before he left Cleveland, it was 8-5. So, to answer your question, do I think LeBron James is better than Kobe? Yes, I do. Now, do I think LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan? No. But I'll be honest with you. It's not up here and down here. It is this right here. It's a very small separation. And the bottom line is this. We can take all the stats. We can take all the finals information. Yep. Add it up. Do what you want to do. We can take him being the all-time leading scorer, even though I can prove to you where medical advances have changed. And therefore, medical advances have put people in a position where they can do things longer than when Mike was active as a player compared to LeBron. But here it is right here. You ready? This man has been able to pick the majority of his players and guys that he wants around him to play, right? Move from team to team. But he is number one all-time in turnovers. Never eclipsed the PER with Jordan. Never got a Defensive Player of the Year. And like I said, all-time leader in turnovers. This is why. This is what separates them. You want to say he got more rebounds? Of course he would. He's 3 inches taller. Don't say the bigger, faster, stronger thing. Because to be quite honest, if bigger, faster, stronger was everything, Steph wouldn't have no rings. Jokic wouldn't be the best center in the league. Jokic moved like he drank 12 beers before every game. And that has no bearing on how he can play the game. So spare me the bigger, faster, stronger. If that's the angle you're going. As a matter of fact, I saw something today that LeBron's real recorded time was a 4.6 in a 40-yard dash. Michael Jordan's was a 4.3. This is whether it's true or how they timed it, I don't know. So let's put that myth to shame. Ron Artest, who played against both of them, will tell you Mike was better. But LeBron is a bad boy. The other myth I hate. You know like I know. Everybody been trashing Mike. That LeBron is better. Allegedly this pickup game. Now here's the problem I have with this. If he truly did Mike in a pickup game, you know good and doggone well, everybody in LeBron's camp would be preaching this. Nobody has said anything but LeBron has played. That LeBron played well. Nobody in this camp is sitting up here saying he got the best of Mike. They done said he better than Mike. They done said, Stephen A. said that Rich Paul allegedly told him after the comeback against the Golden State Warriors, by the way, was historic, that your guy couldn't do that. So if he would say that, don't you think if 16-year-old LeBron James got the best of an older Michael Jordan, they would be riding on this? This is why I say. So listen, I think everybody has a right to their opinion. But what I'm hating right now is all the propaganda. All the, LeBron don't read books. Well, who cares? He getting paid to play basketball. Oh, Mike paying for the prisons. Not true. But what does that have to do with basketball? Oh, LeBron opened up a school. Mike funds one through the James R. Foundation in Chicago. Who cares? What does that have to do with basketball? I just want to say good night to y'all. Have a great one. I'm coming back next week. We're going to talk a little bit of football. Peace.